thank you for joining me for today's practice. So you've made it halfway through. Today is the beginning of our third week. It's been such a pleasure to take you through these practices, and I just want to acknowledge the effort that you're making to come to your mat and practice. I hope that your practice is going well. Please feel free to comment and let me know how you're going, and I will try my best to respond. So make sure you're nice and comfortable. For today's practice, we're going to be slowing things right down. It's a yin style practice. I've made the surface quite soft and comfortable. I've got a couple of blocks and a bolster that's set up here for the first posture that we'll take. If you don't have yoga props, then just grab yourself like a couple of firm cushions or pillows, anything that to elevate, and you want to have a bit of an angle if you can here. And the higher the angle, the more supported it is. The lower the angle, the less supported. And if you don't want to use props, you can also just lie onto your back. That's also an option. So let's make a start. Make sure you're nice and comfortable. You're all set up. For the first pose, I will offer two options. So first one is our Baddha legs, a little bit of space away from the bolster, and then just lying back and letting the arms open out. If you would like to take a different variation here, big toes together, coming into your saddle, so knees just a bit wider than the hips. So you're sitting down onto the heels here. Once again, a little bit of space between the back of the pelvis and the bolster, and then lying back. Just taking some time just to make yourself feel comfortable here. Arms a little bit away from the body, palms facing up. Closing down the eyes. Just taking this time to settle into the breathing and settle into the body. Just noticing how you're feeling, how your body's feeling. And tuning into where you're at in this very moment. Maybe there's somewhere you've been or a situation you've been in, and maybe you're noticing some residual sort of reverberations from that, from your day, or something you might have coming up. And just acknowledging whatever that might be. And then just bringing yourself to the breath and to the body. Creating the space to be here. Taking a break from the thinking mind. It's okay if thoughts keep coming up, that's absolutely natural. And just bring ourselves back to the breathing whenever we notice that's happening. And let's recall our sankalpa, our intention that we've been visiting daily. We strengthen our resolve each time we revisit. And just coming back to the breathing whenever you're ready. Slowing down the inhale and slowing down the exhale. Lightly scanning throughout the body, noticing if there's anywhere you can soften and let go. Or perhaps it's simply noticing that there are these points of tension, or there might be holding, and at this point in time maybe it's hard to let it go for whatever reason. And we simply allow that to be there, making space for whatever is here to be here. Last couple of breaths here. And then let's blink open the eyes. Starting to make your way back up, just using your hands to help you come back up to a seated position. Moving the props off to the side for a moment. And then sitting over to one side, taking the legs out in front of you. Just taking a moment to let the legs wriggle out a bit. And then coming into your half shoelace position. So we're going to cross this right leg over, left leg is long. And this is somewhere where you might sit up on a cushion or even a block if this feels quite challenging for your hips or your hamstrings. Otherwise, just holding it here. Make sure you've got enough space around you. We're going to take that left hand over to the floor and take the right arm up and over, taking this lateral variation. We'll just hold it here just for about a minute or so before we go forward. So let that left shoulder relax away. And you can let the eyes be looking up towards the ceiling or look down towards that left hand, seeing what feels right for your body. Sense of grounding down through that outer right hip. Just noticing if you can slow down the exhale. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then on the next in-breath, let's come back upright. And then as you exhale, starting to come forward over the legs. Just feeling free here to use your bolster or cushions or anything that if you want to rest your head down on something. I want to stay a little bit active through this left foot. Just using the breath to try to soften and meet any resistance in the body. And as we stay here in the posture, you may notice sounds, thoughts. You may have images. Just noticing how these experiences arise and then they just move on. And we come back to the breath, breath being our anchor. So the last couple of breaths here, Noticing if there's any space to let go a little bit further. And then let's start to walk the hands back up. Releasing that top leg, just letting the legs open out a little bit, let the feet fall away from one another, hands behind you, fingers pointing back, and closing down the eyes. Just once again, tuning into the body, just noticing any residual sensation, feedback after we've come out of that posture. And then let's go to the other side. So right leg along, crossing this left leg over, trying to bring that left foot over towards the right hip, flexing the right foot, and then taking that right hand away, left arm up and over. Maybe eyes looking up towards the ceiling or down towards that right hand. This time grounding down through the outer edge of that left hip. Staying with this breath and this breath. On the next inhale, coming back upright, and then as you exhale, starting to fold forward over the legs. Just every now and then, scanning the whole body, just noticing anywhere you can let go. The back of the neck, the shoulders, the jaw. Last few breaths here. And when you're ready, starting to walk your hands up, coming back upright, releasing that top leg long, letting the feet fall away from one another, hands behind you, closing down the eyes, just allowing the legs to completely relax here. You may notice some tingling, some pulsing. And then opening up the eyes, coming upright, just crossing the legs and then coming over the legs, coming into your tabletop position for a moment. And if you are feeling like you're going to slip, then make sure that you can be down on your mat with your feet. If you feel okay, tucking the toes under, coming into your down facing dog, just for a moment. We're not going to hold our down dog. Let's walk our hands back towards the feet, soften the knees here as much as you need to.
and come into your ragdoll. The arms can hang down or taking hold of the forearms or the elbows, letting the head relax down. And often we might try to lift the shoulders away from the ears, but here let's just let everything just hang down, just letting go. You might need to keep your eyes open and keep them on a steady spot. Or if it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes, just see how your balance is. Just allowing gravity to lengthen out the spine. Lengthening out your breathing. Just one more full breath here. Releasing those hands. Place the hands down on the fingers, hips down. Open the feet out a little bit wider. And then come down into your Malasana squat position here. If you need to sit down and just have the legs out wide, you can go for that variation here. Otherwise, just staying in your Malasana. And option to just keep the hands in your prayer position, or if you'd like to place the right hand down, open the left arm up towards the ceiling, eyes looking towards that top hand. Or last option is to take a bind, so right arm wraps behind, reaching back, taking hold, monkey grip, or taking hold of that left wrist. Eyes can keep looking up towards the ceiling, or just closing your eyes. Just allow the hips to be heavy. This is quite demanding on the body, even though we're just in stillness here. So you might notice a bit of extra tension start to creep into the body here. Try to relax the shoulders, relax the face. One more full breath. And then if you're in your bind, releasing the bind. As everyone, just coming back to center for a moment. Bring the palms, the hands into the center, lengthen up through the spine. We're going to take our forward fold in between the sides, so hands down, lifting the kneecaps up, the hips up, and letting the spine just hang down for a couple of breaths. And then let's go to the other side, so bending through the legs again, feet turning slightly out. And you may be staying in your prayer position here, or left hand down, right arm extending up, or possibly wrapping this left arm behind, reaching that right hand back, either going for your monkey grip or holding onto the left wrist. And eyes can look up. If that just feels like too much of a strain, you just close your eyes. Using your breath to feel into the body. Noticing if there's any way you can let go. Last couple of breaths. And then opening up the eyes if they're closed, releasing the bind. Everyone just coming back to the middle for the moment. Palms, hands come together. Bring the hands down, rotate the feet to your parallel. And once again, it's hanging down in your ragdoll. You could bring your feet a little bit closer together. And then walking your hands out, coming down into your tabletop position. And if you would like to grab your cushions or your bolster and pop it in front there, we're going for our sleeping swan, and option to use your bolster for support. So taking this right knee forward, Left leg extends back behind you, and you could just rest down with your forearms, or if you'd like to rest all the way down and bring it a little bit closer. Left ear resting down. Just feeling free to close down the eyes. Just allowing that left front of the hip to be heavy. Just giving into gravity here. Just noticing how sensation can start to intensify the longer we stay in a posture. And that might give you a bit of information that you need to back out of something, or you might feel like, oh, I can actually go a bit further. You could move the bolster to the side and just come down if that's your preference. Or you might just be staying with the sensation exactly as it is, just using your breath. And then when you're ready, let's start to bring the head back to center. If it's to the side, coming up with your hands, shifting back, bringing the knees together, sitting back to the heels, and coming into your child's pose. Just for a few breaths here. And then shifting the weight back into your hands, bringing that left knee forward towards that left wrist and walking this right foot back. And then when you're ready, coming down either onto your forearms or maybe just staying up in your hands. Or if you'd like to turn the right ear down, turning to the left. Maybe using that little scan of the body just to help you let go and recognize any unconscious holding patterns. And if the mind becomes overactive here, or the thinking mind, you may have to have a stronger focus on your breathing. So staying with the breath as you inhale, trying to stay with the breath as you exhale. Last few breaths here. And then using the hands, turning the head back to the center, coming back upright. And this time, let's just come up to a seated position. Just keep the bolster just over on the side, within reach, lying down onto your back. Just letting the feet be long, arms a little bit away from the body, palms facing up. And then let's bend the legs up. You can open your eyes, crossing the right leg over the left. And then let's lift the hips and slightly towards the left. You could wrap that right foot underneath, and we're going into an open variation of this twist. So the right leg's on top, and we're going to drop the legs over to the right. This is somewhere you could pop your bolster underneath here. If your legs are way off the ground and you just want a bit more support, feel free to pop something underneath the legs. You can place that right hand to the inner right thigh, and then turn the head to look to the left. Eyes can close down. Directing the breath particularly into that left outer hip and left lower back area. Trying to move that outer left hip away from the left shoulder as you exhale. And you might notice micro shifts in the body as the musculature starts to soften and relax. Just 3 more full breaths. And then inhale to bring the legs back to center, uncrossing the legs, centering the hips. Extend the legs out long for a moment, just taking your shavasana position for a couple of breaths. And then bending the legs up, crossing the left leg on top of the right and bringing the hips slightly over towards the right, wrapping that left foot underneath the right leg, and then dropping the legs over to the left side, right arm opening out, eyes might turn towards the right hand, closing down the eyes. And you might notice a little bit of a difference from one side to the other. Maybe one side's a bit tighter or a little bit looser. Just checking in with the jaw, the back of the throat, the shoulders. Just directing the breath to where you feel this the most in the body. most likely to be the outer right hip and into the lower back. But if it is somewhere else, then absolutely taking the breath there, imagining to take the breath there. Is there any way you can let go these last few moments here? And then starting to bring the legs back to center, uncrossing the legs, center the hips, extend the legs out long, coming into your shavasana for a moment. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. So once again, deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. So opening up through the eyes. If you can grab the bolster and just pop them underneath your knees, please feel free to do that from lying down. But if you need to, just coming back up to seated for a moment. We'll set this up so it's underneath our knees or our cushions underneath the knees, and then lie back down into your shavasana. We'll just take happy baby before we go into shavasana, and bringing the knees in towards the armpits, holding the outside edges of the feet, feeling free to take a rock from side to side, just massaging out the lower back. And then coming back to center and just holding here for a few breaths. Trying to relax the shoulder heads back down to the mat as the back of the pelvis presses back down. Taking one more inhale. As you exhale, you're squeezing the knees in a little bit more. And then let's release the legs out long. Resting the legs onto your cushions or onto your bolster. Arms a little bit away from the body. Closing down the eyes. Just completely surrendering the weight of the body. Softening the face. Relax the belly. Whole body letting go. And resting here for the next few minutes. Please feel free to stay resting here. Otherwise, let's start to deepen into the breathing. Feeling the belly rise and the belly fall. Bring some movement into the fingers and toes. Just using your feet to move your bolster, your cushions out of the way. And then rolling over onto the side of your choice. Just taking a rest here for a couple of breaths. And making your way up to a seated position. Resting the hands down on the legs, eyes closed. Just noticing if there's anywhere in the body that can soften. Even whilst you remain in this lengthened, gently alert state. Maybe the hips, maybe the jaw. And bringing the palms of the hands together into your prayer in front of the chest. Bowing the head down towards your hands. Acknowledging your effort to practice today. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.